So, Best Views Reviews welcomes you to the product life. Here we bring you the latest and greatest products to help you live your best life, from health and beauty to home and garden. We have everything you need to make your life more enjoyable. So, sit back and relax. You're sure to find something you love. This is Apoor Sibal, and my guest today is Lori Turk. Lori is an inventor of Safeguard in North Vancouver. She served as a specialist rep at Shrine Pharma Canada and as a sales specialist in a company. So, Lori, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you.
So, could you tell us how did you get the idea of Safegrate?
Well, I had been a pharmaceutical sales rep for over 25 years, selling medicine to doctors. And then I was laid off. A whole bunch of us were laid off one day. And I was just in the kitchen grating a potato for dinner. And I cut myself, and like really hurt myself. And it had been about the third time that year that I'd cut myself grating food. And I thought, oh, why doesn't somebody invent something that protects your fingers when you grate so you don't cut yourself and start bleeding? And then I thought, well, why don't you? It's as simple as that. I thought, why don't you? And the very next morning, I was just in my living room with like scotch tape and paper, and like I had a grater and some fruits and vegetables, and I started inventing it. That like it was as simple as that. There was a problem and I felt I really wanted to solve the problem, and so that's why I invented it.
Oh, interesting. So, what is the key differentiator of your product from the other competitors in the market?
Well, there aren't many competitors, which is why I needed to invent it. So I did do that as market research to start out. And I mean, you can buy gloves, you can put gloves on your hand. So when I tell you, like, you won't cut yourself, just so you understand, or people understand, like a typical grater, if like you're grating a carrot or a potato, you see my thumb or your knuckles can actually, you can draw blood and you can like cut yourself very badly. So some companies sell gloves, but once you get the glove a bit dirty, you've got to wash it in the washing machine and dry it. You can't reuse it right away. You can't even, you might have to wait a couple days before you do your laundry. And you need a different size glove for different people in the family. Like sometimes if you have a teenager or a little kid, a little child that wants to help you grate cheese in the kitchen, they can't use your glove because you're an adult. You have a bigger hand. The other products are plastic. And when you, for instance, like if I'm holding, here's my Safegrate, and if I widen it, I hold the carrot and I'm going to grate it. Some of my competitors are plastic, a different design. And the thing is, when their plastic hits the grater tines, you'll get micro fine pieces of plastic that can go into your food. So by being stainless steel, it's so durable. It'll last for years and years and years. It won't rust, and it's just a much better quality product.
Got it. For the listeners of our podcast, could you describe the grater in words? Because they might not be able to see the video.
You mean, oh, okay, fair enough. So do you want me to describe my product, Safegrate, or the grater that grates the food?
Uh, your product.
Okay, so the Safegrate, how do I explain this? So if you can picture in your mind, you're grating cheese or you're grating a potato or even onion on a four-sided grater. If you're just holding it with your hands, when you get very close to the holes, the food, you can cut your skin or you can cut your knuckles or your nail. It's happened to so many people. I have so many friends that have shown me scars on their fingers from having cut themselves grating food. Or sometimes you just have a lemon or a lime and you're trying to create a little bit of zest for your recipe, and your fingers, your hands get too close to those little sharp, they're called tines that stick out from the grater to create these small little pieces of food. So the Safegrate, being it's stainless steel, it's something that you hold within your hand, and you can widen it for a large potato. You can, it's almost like pinching your fingers to hold the food. And then when you start to grate the food, you're holding onto the food quite hard with the metal Safegrate, but there's like these little protective shields, in a way, very small little protective shields that will totally protect your nails, your knuckles, your fingers. No part of your hand will go near these very sharp parts of the grater. So you will not have a cut hand or finger.
Got it. Thank you. That was really helpful. So, we have a tool, Voice of the Customer, where we analyze the sentiments and reviews of all the customers who have actually used your product. So, we analyzed about 97,000 reviews from 159 products in the Grater category. And we analyzed a total of 10 reviews for this product. And according to the AI-based tool, it received a rating of 7.75. The main reasons to buy were that the finger shield for chopping, grating, and zesting provides a strong hold. It's made of heavy-duty stainless steel, and it features a dishwasher-safe material. However, there was a minor drawback that it might not offer non-slip grip. Please, can you comment on this?
Yeah, it is important probably that your hands are dry when you first pick up the Safegrate, because there's small little holes that will be holding hard onto the food. And if your hands are wet, naturally, they're going to be a little bit slippery on the stainless steel. So that's the only thing. You just need to make sure your hands are dry when you start.
Oh, got it. Now moving on. You have another product which comes as a bundle with Safegrate, which is 2Grate. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. It's called the 2Grate Grater. So it was an expansion. So I thought, well, I sell the Safegrate, and then I thought it would be nice to sell a grater that, instead of just the four-sided box grater that we all have. So I'm not sure. I guess people can't necessarily see this, but it's almost like a 2-in-1 grater. So it's only about barely 12 inches long, and it's quite thin, and it's kind of curved. So on one side, you have the holes that are the normal size holes for grating that all of us use for grating cheese and carrots, and on the other side are the smaller holes if you want to grate some ginger or a whole nutmeg, or chocolate if you want microfine chocolate, or Parmesan cheese. So it's almost like you get 2-in-1 in a nice small package, and it's super easy to clean and hold. And I love it. Like, I actually have about 5 or 6 graters in the house, and now I use this only. And it's not because it's mine, but it's just I have no need for the other ones anymore.
Right. So how did you get the idea to create 2Grate, and what is the key differentiator of your product from other competitors?
So the idea for the 2Grate was that I just really wanted to come out with a really unique, special kind of grater that people, because most of us already have a grater at home, and there's lots for sale. You go into any store. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to sell one, it has to be really different. Like, people have to have a reason. And so there are some graters that are like that have 2 different size holes, but I tried them out and they're too skinny, or they weren't sharp enough, or for whatever reason. And this 2Grate, it's a great complement to the Safegrate, because you can use the Safegrate when you've got food in it. You can grate on any grater that you already have at the house, And then the 2 grate, you can easily grate on one side or the other. It's just, they're very complementary. It makes a perfect package or a perfect bundle.
Got it. Makes sense. So according to our tool, the voice of the customer, for the bundle, uh, the reasons to buy were that you can use it as a garlic grater, citrus zester, vegetable grater, coconut grater, carrot shredders, and so on. And it is equipped with soft rubber grip that makes it comfortable to hold. However, there was a minor drawback that it might be slightly small in size. Could you comment on that?
There are bigger graters than the 2 grate grater, but there's also smaller ones. So it really depends on the individual and what they want. So most people probably already have a larger 4-sided grater. Some people might have a zester, something smaller already. You need a decent size of surface to grate the food. Otherwise, it'll take you twice as long to grate. So you don't want it too small, to be honest. So if people want something smaller, there are other options out there for them. Personally, it's the perfect size for me for the vast majority of the different grading requirements that I need.
Got it. Makes sense. So how do you see the Safegrate in the next 5 years?
Well, I'm expanding in quite a few countries. So I have been selling in stores, but and that's been okay. But really, the growth is with e-commerce. So right now, I'm selling in Canada and the United States, and in Australia and the United Kingdom. And so I plan to expand throughout Europe next year. And I also want to explore getting another manufacturer, actually. And I have considered India because I know they're excellent manufacturers. And it's just such a hard job to try and find a brand new manufacturer. And I do plan to make an adjustment or a bit of a change possibly to the Safegrate. It depends. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do that yet. And maybe some other products. I have other product ideas that relate to grading that I think could be on the marketplace. So I want to maximize in the markets where I am.
Got it. So I have two questions to follow up. So one is, how did you find the manufacturer in the first place? So you mentioned that you got this idea one day, but how did you actually make this product in the first place? I
Oh, it
feel this
was
is a
so hard. Yeah, that's a really good question. That's the most difficult part of starting out, like to make a product. So there are some companies that will help you, that will source for you. And because I knew a lot of people were getting products manufactured in China, I knew India was a possibility. I had considered Mexico as well. I didn't know a soul in those countries. I wasn't going to travel over to those, to all the countries. So I didn't know the languages. So I actually got the services. I got in touch with an individual. It's a company called Lean Launch. They're based in Utah because they already have contacts. They have contacts in India, in China, in like all over the place, who then can go into these manufacturing places, these companies, and say, okay, we've got this product. Can you manufacture it or not? And then they get quotes, or they kind of test out some of the different manufacturers, and then they will send to me the prototypes. Like I already had so they'll make like a trial product, and you have to determine if it's good enough quality for you or not. It's kind of risky because they could copy it. So you have to make sure you have all of the legal documents in place for them to sign before they even see it, so that they can't, they might still copy it, but then you can take them to court in case they do, if you've had them sign the right forms.
Oh, got it. Sounds like an interesting process. So you also mentioned that there are some new innovations coming soon or that are in development for Safegrate. Could you tell us a bit about them?
Well, I kind of can't, right? Because this is that case where you can't, if you talk about a design change or even a new product and people hear it, then they can rush out and copy you. So for that reason, I can't really do that. Um, so I might, actually, I have to leave it at that. I just can't talk, to be honest. I just can't really, I can't talk about it.
No, I totally understand. So could you tell us about your creative process? How do you come up with new innovations? How do you understand the customer's needs?
Oh, you know what? That's a really good question because my final design was not what it wasn't much like my initial idea. So I originally wanted to make an electrical product or an electrical appliance. And I got in touch with an electrical engineer. And I met with him and I said, this is my idea of, so I just kind of verbalized it to him, like how I imagined it in my head. And he said he was going to go home and he worked full time. So on the side, he was going to spend time trying to create drawings. So it was him coming up with the drawings to try and figure it out. Because I didn't know how to do those drawings on the computer. You know, there's so many programs and I didn't have those programs on my computer. But I realized while I was creating when I was on my couch and I was experimenting myself with, my silly little prototype that I had, that the best thing to grate something was to actually use your hand. Your hand is one of the strongest, best tools to hold the food. So I thought, well, I'm not, and he also advised me not to go electrical if I could help it, because there's so many regulations and so many tests that I would have to pay a lot of money for to prove that it was safe, of course, right? Being an electrical product. So, excuse me. I actually called him and I said, stop, I've got this idea. And I just drew it on a piece of paper. And I emailed it to him and he looked it over. And so he actually then he drew a design from what he thought I wanted. And then I made him do some changes to it. So we went back and forth a couple times. And then we did a 3D mock-up, like a prototype. So a 3D plastic prototype, and tested that out to see how it worked. And then we perfected it from there to stainless steel. So I had to I'm in Canada, and I had to get a company that's a 4-hour plane ride away to create a prototype for me. There was nobody close by here in my province of British Columbia where I live. So it's a long time. They say it takes a year to bring a product to market. And I thought I would do it faster. It actually took me about a year and a half. So if you're going to invent a product, it's best to keep your full-time paying job and work on it on the sidelines until you're ready. Even when you first launch, sales sometimes are a bit slower than what you thought they'd be. So it's good to have that steady income from your full-time job until you then can see the sales increase enough that you can start doing it full-time.
Got it. So that brings me to my next question. How do you manage your brand awareness marketing in this competitive e-commerce category?
Oh, I need someone young like you to help me. I'm not very smart about all the social media online marketing. I have had a steep learning curve trying to learn it all. So right now, the priorities for me, I'm doing things like this with you as often as I can. I try and tell people about my business. I do not go to the consumer shows or the fairs. I was advised that that's a lot of work. And sometimes you sell a lot of product, but you have to pay a lot of money for a table and for advertising. So you don't make money in the end. So I sell on Amazon, so I spend money for advertising on Amazon, and that's become very helpful. And what my highest sales day was when somebody did a video, I didn't even know them, of my Safegrate on TikTok. They did a TikTok video grating a banana. Can you believe it? And it actually went viral because everyone's like, what the heck are you doing grating a banana? It was like green banana. And she turned out to be from Central America. And they have a lot of recipes that require grated green banana. But I have had someone else do a TikTok video for me that, and I didn't really see increased sales from it. So I know that I need to do more. I need to do TikTok videos myself. And I am on Instagram and I post every week there, but I don't think I'm necessarily getting much business from that. And I also buy advertising to increase awareness on Pinterest. So for instance, I just launched Safegrate in the United Kingdom. Nobody knows about my product. And if they go on the Amazon website, they won't even know to look for it. So if I advertise on Pinterest about it, and do you have Pinterest in India? I imagine you do. Yeah. So if somebody's interested enough, they of course can just press find out more, and it'll take them right to my website where they can purchase it right there. So that's actually my main form of marketing and advertising. Wow. But the last 2 years, I have paid public relations firms to help me. And last fall, I think it was helpful and useful, but you have to pay them a lot of money, like at least $2,000, $2,500 minimum, dollars for them to work for you for, well, that was like for 3 months. But there was one company that said it was $2,500 a month for 3 months for them. I was promoted on TV, like on these little shows. And to be honest, I thought I'd get great sales from somebody using it on TV, and that didn't work for me. So I think it's just people spontaneously doing these little videos on TikTok. So I'm going to try and reach out to people that do a lot of cooking shows on TikTok and offer them like a free Safegrate and maybe pay them if they've not too much, like, because I can't afford that, but and try and kind of organically create business. I don't know.
Right. So seems like
there's probably. Go ahead.
Yeah, seems like TikTok influencer marketing is the way to go.
Yeah.
Got it. So yeah, thank you, Lori. This was very interesting. So thank you to the listeners of our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for future products or guests, please let us know. Until next time, goodbye.
Thanks, Arpav.